We know Africa has always been known to be a dark continent, to be a hopeless continent, a third world. Every bad name was put on Africa. When the APRM came in 2003, it has really helped Africa to develop in that we have to look now inside to find African solutions to African problems. We do not have to rely on our former colonial masters to come and tell us. As much as they tell us what is right, we don't need them every time we have to go and beg.
Transformational change, that's what people are really aspiring for. You know, they don't want transactional change, or you'll do this and you'll create some cosmetic change. We've seen elections, we've seen people becoming more demanding and vocal about the quality of the system that are supposed to represent them. The APRM has the capacity to really transform the sort of the governance architecture of our continent. Yes, 54 countries, but if we are hard at working at it, it can really bring about that much needed transformational change.
The most important development in the African governance landscape in the last 2 decades has been the increase of women's political participation. We have seen in some countries such as Rwanda where women's participation has dramatically increased. For example, in the parliament, we have 64% of women in the Rwandan parliament, which is the country with the most important numbers of women parliamentarians in the world.
I think that the African continent has made tremendous progress in terms of adopting particular progressive principles and laws to implement in the different countries across Africa. On the other side, however, the challenge has been implementation, because if you isolate different countries, including Uganda, Zimbabwe, and Kenya, the challenge has been implementation of those principles, because what we have seen increasingly across some of the African countries is that we have seen increasingly limited civic space for African citizens to express themselves.
I think the coming in of the APRM brings in, that flavor where, first of all, one becomes ready and says, I want to volunteer to this process. I want to open up myself for checks, for critics, and so on and so forth, which is not an easy road to take, especially in Africa. It has brought in the aspect of concentration in the specific governance realms of the democratic and good political governance, socio-economic development, economic governance and management, and also the corporate governance realm.
There has been challenges, of course, but we have seen the demand side of governance improving over time. We can see that leaders are much more accountable to their people. We can see improvement in the utilization of countries' resources. We have seen improvements in the provision of social services in the continent, but above all, the sharing of experiences between countries. They learn from each other, and this has led to reforms in the economic, political, and social spheres.
Do not lock out the youth, because we are a youthful continent. You need us for the future of this continent. The government should not look at the youth as enemies. They should look at them as an asset who are able to complement their agenda further. So put them in governance places, put them in leadership places, allow them to nurture, allow them to bloom in their own way. They will mature in the process, but it will be for the good of this continent.